No, not anymore. It did initially, and originally I would have thought that palliative care was just connected to people who had cancer and it was the end of the road for them and there was no turning back, and that it was usually the hospice who facilitated them at that stage of their life. But during the last 3 years, my own personal circumstances have led me to see the broader story and what palliative care really involves, and how it can start from an early stage in somebody's life where they're suffering from a terminal illness or maybe just a debilitating disease such as MS or dementia. Well, palliative care I now understand as the care at end of life for an individual, and it's making sure that their life is as comfortable and secure as possible, that they're pain free would be the most important, and that they are told throughout the whole process, what from the diagnosis right through, and that the family are included at all levels, and that there's family discussions with their individual and with the GP, and that the stages that are lying ahead are explained to them, and that it helps the family come to terms with what's the inevitable parting, and that their loved one comes to terms, and it brings peace to everybody, and it makes life much easier, and that they don't waste the time they have left together. Yes, I do, but there's very few services available in my area. To access them, you'd have to be really through the GP. And with GPs, I find it can be hit and miss. Some GPs are very hands-on. Others run their GP practice more professionally and would be more distant. Specifically in rural areas, they wouldn't have as much access to palliative care facilities. Probably the nearest would be the hospice in Galway to us, which would be 17 miles. But in the palliative care service, I suppose help for the family is getting all the proper equipment, like a hospital bed, the reclining chair, the shower chair, all these modern conveniences that are out there now to help with the lifting, and just the general, it makes life much more comfortable for the patient and your loved one at home, and for the family, because the stress of just pulling somebody, lifting them, you're hurting them, whereas when you have the hospital bed you can manoeuvre them much more easy. The others, the dietitian comes to the home now, the speech therapist looks at the swallow of the patient, which is all very important. And I feel palliative care, which to me is the end of life care, it's a broader outlook altogether, can start at an earlier stage. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's making life as comfortable as possible and as pain-free for your loved one, and making it as stress-free for the family and the loved one, and just that you have the time to enjoy one another in the later stages.